So this is the MRCOG Part 2 question bank. All these questions have been created by myself, and I've taken all the content for this from the April 2022 TOG summary. So please feel free to go through that presentation first before trying to answer the questions. And the way the presentation is going to work is I'm going to be giving you a minute on every slide on the question, so you can have a bit of time to think about the answer. So get your pen and paper ready. And the good thing about this is you can go over it as many times as you like. As I found during my revision for the part two, it was questions were the most integral part of revision because it was only doing the questions that cemented your learning and you could really test yourself before sitting the exam on the final day to see whether you really are processing and taking in the information that you are learning. Okay, so the first question is how many women are obese during pregnancy? And I want you to think of this in percentages. So A, 10%, B, 20%, C, 30%, D, 5%, and E, 1%. So this is what percentage of women are obese during the pregnancy. I'm going to give you a minute now. So think about the answer and then I will go on to the next slide, which will be the answer. So the answer is 20%. Okay, question number two. What is the percentage of women who smoke during the pregnancy? Is it A, 10%, B, 50%, C, 5%, D, 1%, or 0.5%? 10%. Third question, what is the percentage of women who are diagnosed with GDM, that's gestational diabetes mellitus, in the pregnancy? Is it A, 10%, B, 50%, C, 5%, D, 1%, or is it E, 0.5%? 5%. Well done if you have got any of those questions right. What percentage of reproductive age women are obese or overweight? Is it A 10%, B 50%, C 5%, D 1%, or is it E 0.5%? Percent. What is the risks to later offspring health of maternal low body mass index (BMI) or being underweight? Select two from the list below: obesity, GDM, asthma, hypertension, or type 2 diabetes. Obesity and hypertension. What is the possible risk to later offspring health of chronic fetal hypoxia? Select two from the list below: obesity, GDM, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, or type 2 diabetes. Remember, you have to select two from this list. So, cardiovascular disease and obesity. What is the possible risks to later offspring health of maternal smoking? Select three from the list below: obesity, GDM, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, or insulin resistance. Are insulin resistance, hypertension, and obesity. What is a possible risk to later offspring health of maternal GDM? Select three from the list below: obesity, impaired glucose tolerance, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, or type 2 diabetes. Are type 2 diabetes, impaired glucose tolerance, and obesity. Drop me a line and tell me how you're getting on, and so far, how useful have you found the questions? So please do comment and like and subscribe to the channel so you can find more useful resources. Okay, so what is the possible risk to the later offspring of maternal obesity? Select 4. Obesity, dyslipidemia, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, or type 2 diabetes. So remember, you need to select 4 from the 5 options given below. Obesity, dyslipidemia, cardiovascular disease, and type 2 diabetes. I hope that wasn't too difficult for you to guess, even if you guessed the answers. So, in which trimester should a fetal cardiac scan be offered to women on SSRIs? First trimester, second, or the third? So, it's the serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors, for those of you wondering what SSRI stands for. Trimester. So, what is the inheritance pattern of sickle cell disease? Is it autosomal recessive, autosomal dominant, X-linked recessive, or X-linked dominant? Recessive. So, at what gestation does the fetal cardiac conduction system develop? Is it 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, 16 weeks, or 20 weeks? Weeks. I hope you got that right. If you do let me know. Do drop a comment down below. What is the lifetime risk of developing ovarian cancer in the population? Is it 1.4%, 5%, 10%, 0.5%, or 1%? What is the percentage of mortality if ovarian cancer is diagnosed at the age of 70? 20%, 80%, 15%, 45%, or 10%? By what percentage is the risk of ovarian cancer reduced by just tubal ligation? Is it 30%, 33%, 34%, 31%, or 10%? By what percentage does hysterectomy with ovarian conservation reduce the risk of ovarian cancer? 30%, 33%, 34%, 31%, or 10%? And the answer is 34%. In what percentage of cases does endometriosis transform into a malignancy? Is it 1%, 2.5%, 3%, 0.5%, or 4%? What is the incidence of paraneoplastic syndrome in oncology patients? 8%, 6%, 2%, 3%, or 7%? Which cancer is the paraneoplastic syndrome of dermatomyositis associated with? Is it ovarian cancer? Is it gestational trophoblastic disease? Is it ovarian teratomas? Or is it neuroendocrine carcinomas? Ovarian cancers. Which cancer is the paraneoplastic syndrome of hyperglycemia associated with? Is it ovarian cancer, gestational trophoblastic disease, ovarian teratomas, neuroendocrine carcinomas, or ovarian stromal carcinoid? And the answer is ovarian stromal carcinoid. Which cancer is the paraneoplastic syndrome of Cushing's syndrome associated with? Ovarian cancer, gestational trophoblastic disease, ovarian teratomas, neuroendocrine carcinomas, ovarian stromal carcinoid. And the answer is neuroendocrine carcinomas. Which cancer is the paraneoplastic syndrome of hyperthyroidism associated with? Is it ovarian cancer? Is it gestational trophoblastic disease? Is it ovarian teratomas? Is it neuroendocrine carcinomas? Is it ovarian stromal carcinoid? And the answer is gestational trophoblastic disease. Which cancer is the paraneoplastic syndrome of encephalitis, NMDAR, associated with? Ovarian cancer, gestational trophoblastic disease, ovarian teratomas, neuroendocrine carcinomas, ovarian stromal carcinoid. And the answer is ovarian teratomas. Bilateral oophorectomy, that's in somebody who's under 45 years of age, is associated with greater mortality of cardiovascular disease by how much? Is it 1.5 times? Is it 2 times? Is it 4 times? Is it 3 times? Or is it 5 times? The answer is 1.5 times. So well done on sticking around and getting to the end of this question bank. I'll be very interested in knowing how you did. So please post your marks down below in the comment section. There's no judgments here. It's purely for practice and learning. And you rather make mistakes here than on the exam day. So please take this opportunity as something to learn from. And if you had lots of questions that you couldn't answer or you couldn't recall, and there's quite a few numbers in it, then please go back to the TOG summary presentation and look over it. Um, and I hope you found this useful. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and comment and tell me how useful you found this video.